Hey guys, so we're continuing off from the last part of what if Goku was like Dr. Gero. So where we left off, we see Vegeta going face to face with Goku annoyed. So Vegeta then proposes to Goku his truce, as he explains to Goku who Frieza is and how he has taken over numerous galaxies and he has forced the Saiyans to be under his wing and to kill many planets. As Goku doesn't really care about what happened to Vegeta because he doesn't really like Vegeta. However, the fact that Frieza is quite strong and Goku can sense this piques Goku's interest, as he wonders what training this creature must have done to have powers that are seemingly hundreds of times higher than his, or at least tens of times. To which Vegeta can't even say. All he knows is that Frieza has the ability to basically take on his whole Frieza force at once. And he has an elite squadron called the Ginyu Force that he hasn't even called in yet. So Goku then looks at Vegeta and then says, "Okay, thanks for this information, but why should we trust you?" As Vegeta says, "I've been on the Frieza Force a long time, and I've been on missions that even Raditz hasn't been on. So I know almost every fighter that Frieza has on this planet and how to defeat them and how they work and how they think. And we both know that Frieza is stronger than you, so you need any help you can get." To which Goku then decides to agree with Vegeta and then says, "Okay, this is what we're gonna do. We have a Dragon Ball radar, right? So we know where every Dragon Ball is. So each of us are gonna split up to each village and basically take on the Frieza fighters that are there disturbing the Namekians. And then we're going to take these Dragon Balls and we're gonna take the Dragon Balls from these Frieza fighters and then make sure that they're safe. So eventually when Frieza comes to find us, we should be able to gang up on him and defeat him. Especially since now me and Raditz both have the Ikari state and something else." To which Vegeta says, "You mean that great ape transformation? Well, I'd have you know that I have also unlocked this form," which actually impresses Goku, as Vegeta doesn't have any of the enhancements him or Raditz does have, so he can definitely tell that Vegeta has been working tirelessly to try and catch up to him, which he can respect. So Vegeta agrees to this plan, and each of the fighters then split up. So since they can all sense power levels, Krillin and Gohan go to the village with the kind of lower end power levels, while Goku, Vegeta and Raditz go to villages with higher power levels. So Vegeta defeats Kui as the original. Goku defeats they all just defeat random fighters, but this alerts Frieza as he notices that his fighters are dropping like flies, to which he decides to summon the Ginyu Force. So Goku and his team at this point, out of the 7 Dragon Balls, they've now been able to get 5. 2 of which are with Frieza already, so they're gonna have to get them. So this is when they realize that they're gonna have to go directly for an attack on Frieza. So what happens is, as they're planning their next steps, they see another spaceship land on planet Namek, and Vegeta then instinctually is afraid, as he knows who this is, as he then says, "Oh no, it's the Ginyu Force, Frieza's most elite squadron." As Goku doesn't seem too impressed with their power levels, as Vegeta says their power levels isn't what's most impressive, it's their amazing techniques that they're able to command. As this piques Goku and Gohan's interest, as they realize that they have the perfect counter for such a squadron, especially since they don't use any mystic techniques. So the team then goes on to face the Ginyu Force. Frieza then looks at this squad of Saiyans and one Namekian and one human, and he starts laughing. He's like, "What are these guys gonna do to the Ginyu Force? They all look weak. Look at all of their power levels. Vegeta's the strongest one here," as he finds himself amused. But the team, of course, like the 5 Ginyu Force members and Goku's team is a bit bigger than that. So they decided to formulate the strategy. Krillin goes for Goldo, Then, basically, Gohan goes for Berter. Piccolo then goes for Raccoon. And then, at this point, Vegeta goes for Jace, since Vegeta hates Jace. So, and then, of course, at the end of the day, Raditz then decides to go for Ginyu. As this then leaves Goku with the main course to fight against Frieza. So, of course, Krillin versus Goldo is a bit of a drawn-out fight. It takes a bit of time. But like with Krillin's Kaioken and speed, he's able to easily dispatch of Goldo. However, before he kills Goldo, Gohan then says wait, as he then decides to test out his ability, as he then copies Goldo's time freeze, as he then realizes this could be quite an interesting ability, as once he copies it, he freezes time for the first time, but he can only do it for like 10 seconds because that's the most Gohan can hold his breath. He's not as skilled as Goldo, as he then kills Goldo, and that's 1-4 down. He then is now able to fight Berta much more effectively, because on top of his Kaioken abilities and his enhancements now, he also has the time freeze, which counters Berta's speed. So that allows him to beat Berta. Next comes Vegeta versus Jace. But like, we can all see that this is an unfair fight and there's no point going through it. Vegeta wins. And then lastly, it's Raditz versus Ginyu. So now this fight is very interesting, as Ginyu then decides to use his ability of the body swap. And he senses that the strongest one there is actually Vegeta, not Raditz, as Raditz is holding back his power. As he then body swaps with Vegeta. And that catches Vegeta off guard. Even though he knew about the time body swap, he had never seen it in practice, so he didn't know how to evade it. So, after the body swap, Raditz starts pummeling on Vegeta, as this is a 2-for-1 deal. He beats Ginyu and Vegeta. So, Vegeta, like Ginyu, gets pummeled in Vegeta's body, which leads him to try to swap back. And then, of course, at this point, Gohan decides to copy this technique just in case reasons, as it might be useful later, but he doesn't actually plan to use it. It's just good to know. And then, basically, Vegeta steps into Ginyu's body change blast and gets back into his own body. And so, Ginyu gets stuck in his own body, and at this point, they just finish him off in one blast. Like, they don't really have time for Ginyu and his games. So the team, like, because of Ginyu's shenanigans, I won them. The team's a bit exhausted. Gohan has tested a lot of his abilities, so his stamina is down. Krillin had a harder battle than he would have expected, especially because he had to use Kaioken. So he's also exhausted. Vegeta got beaten up by Raditz, so he's exhausted. And Raditz is the only one so far in the team who's actually semi-unscathed. So now we can go back to Goku and Frieza's battle, as this is the main event, of course. So Goku looks Frieza eye to eye, as Frieza then says, "I've never seen you before. Are you also a Saiyan?" To which Goku says, "Yeah, of course, look at the tail. Are you dumb or something?" Which angers Frieza, as Frieza then says, "You don't seem too intimidated by me. I would assume that you've heard about me." As he then says, "I don't care who you are or what you've done. It makes no difference to me. The end goal is still the same. I plan to defeat you, as I want to test out my abilities. And I don't think I've had a good challenge in a while." So Frieza then takes this as an insult, as he then says, "So you think of me simply as a test then? Well, let's find out, Saiyan." As he then launches at Goku, and launches a damaging punch at Goku, which actually slightly injures him, which surprises Goku, as he realizes that Frieza is no game, especially considering at this point Frieza's power level was 500,000, and like the fights weren't as climactic as before, I would say. So Goku then decides to stop holding back as much in his base form, as he then uses 80% of his base power and this evens it out. As Frieza finds himself on the back foot and sees that this Saiyan actually wasn't joking. He is actually strong. To which Frieza then says, you would have had me defeated. As I can tell, you're not even going at full strength just yet. But luckily for me, I'm not going at full strength either. And this is just a fraction of my true abilities. As Frieza then decides not to play games with this guy, as this guy is definitely not playing around, as Frieza goes to his third form, skipping the second altogether, since the second was just double as strong as the first. So, in his third form, he's around 10 times stronger than before. And Goku in his base form cannot match this. As basically, Goku is getting mapped around. So in response, Goku simply turns on his Kaioken. And then this manages to even the odds out, considering that Goku is able to use martial arts too. And this angers Frieza, considering that a Saiyan is able to match him at this level. And Goku possesses such speed and stamina that Frieza is actually getting a bit tired out. So Frieza realizes that if he's gonna win this, he has to end this in one blow. As Frieza then transforms into his final form. And this actually drops sweat down Goku's neck, as he realizes that this guy is not playing around, and that this final form is not a game. It's not a simple few times multiplies like the last form. Frieza's power level has skyrocketed from the tens of millions to the hundreds of millions, or what, like it's a big difference in power level. We can put it that way. So Goku realizes that this is an insurmountable odds, even for his Ikari state, as his Ikari state only gives him a 10 times increase, and that doesn't even put him at 10% of Frieza's current power. As he realizes he's going to have to gamble a bit with this, as Goku then decides to test something out, as he combines his Ikari and his Kaioken state, and then also takes a Senzu Bean to put himself at full health and stamina, as he knows this is going to take a lot of damage on his body. As this manages to give Goku a chance at Frieza's 50% state, as Goku is actually up until Frieza hit 50%, Goku was managing to keep up. But even then, it was not enough, as Frieza simply knocks Goku to the ground and whacks him around. As Goku then exclaims to Frieza, "Yo, you're so strong. How much did you train?" And Frieza just smirks on Goku and laughs at him and says, "You want to know something funny? I haven't trained a day in my life. My other forms are simply ways to suppress my true power. And you haven't even seen my full capabilities." As this shocks Goku, as one thought comes in Goku's head: if I can analyze this guy, the abilities I could get are unbelievable. As then Goku is now knocked on the ground, as he then realizes that he can't beat Frieza by himself. He's gonna have to be smart about it. As he then decides to throw some Senzu Beans over to the other fighters. So Vegeta is now at full health, Raditz is at full health. Basically everyone's at full health. As they now try standing up to Frieza as a group. But of course, Goku is the strongest one here. And Raditz does not have all the modifications that Goku has, so he can't do this Ikari Kaioken thing the same way Goku can, making him weaker. And if Goku was the strongest fighter, and Frieza is not even using more than half his strength, all that Frieza has to do is become even stronger. As Frieza then uses more and more of his power, becoming stronger and stronger, and eventually he whacks Raditz down, he whacks everyone down, even though they tried ganging up on him. Of course, this led him to taking some damage, but he came out victorious in the end, to which he has an evil smirk on his face, as he then says, "Time for me to reap my reward, isn't it?" As he first of all launches a blast that destroys all the Senzu Beans that Goku had in his pockets, as Goku foolishly left it on a pouch on the outside of his pants, meaning that they have no more Senzu Beans. Secondly, what Frieza does is he decides to take away all these Z fighters, like one by one. As he first looks at this green man and says, "There's something about you that just annoys me. and I decided that you're gonna be first. As he launches a blast at Piccolo, killing him instantly. This angers Goku, but it's not enough to push him over the edge just yet, as he shouts at Frieza, "Stop what you're doing. You will regret this." As Frieza simply laughs, as Saiyan telling me I'm going to regret my actions. Who do you think you are? As he then looks at a small boy, as he's then like, I wonder whose kid this is. Doesn't matter. I'm sure it's one of yours. And he decides to play around with Gohan a bit, as he then decides to launch punch after punch on Gohan, weakening him, and like Gohan's already weak. So this is damaging Gohan more and more, as Goku is forced to watch the life being beat out of his own son, as Gohan is at a point where he's near unconscious, and Frieza launches one more punch as Gohan closes his eyes, seemingly killing the boy. As this now angers Goku, as Goku is extremely annoyed, as this is the second time that people have decided to pick on his kid. As he then says, Frieza, for this, I will make sure that you have the worst suffering known in this universe. As he then opens his eyes and shouts out to the sky, as his power level skyrockets and skyrockets. His power increases and increases. His robotic enhancements boosting this transformation. As Goku then opens his eyes, as the sky turns dark, as his hair turns a golden hue, as Goku for the first time unlocks the Super Saiyan transformation, shocking everyone there. As then, what happens now is that Frieza is forced to fight against a Super Saiyan Goku. And let's just say this is no competition, as basically what happens now is that Goku launches punch after punch on Frieza, wearing him down, breaking him down, and there's no mercy like the original story. Goku beats up Frieza, knocks him out, like brings him back to consciousness, and then knocks him out again with no hesitation. Frieza is at his wit's end, pleading for mercy, but Goku decides that he's not gonna give him any such thing, as Goku then knocks him down, ripping off his tail and his arms, and leaving him at a knocked out state. So what happens now is that Goku decides that he's going to capture Frieza, and this isn't enough for Goku. He's gonna make sure that Frieza really understands what it means to be his enemy, and so that Vegeta knows what happens if he double crosses him again, as Goku then takes Frieza. But he realizes something very interesting, as he remembers that Gohan copied this body change form, as he then goes to check if Gohan is alive, and Gohan is alive but barely, as Goku uses some of his energy to try and wake Gohan up. So as Gohan is barely alive and Frieza is in a much better state than he is in, Goku simply gives Frieza some energy, allows him to be healed, and tells Gohan to use that technique that he learned before. As Gohan knows exactly what Goku means, as he then shouts, "Change now!" As Gohan then swaps bodies with Frieza, meaning that Frieza's body is now in the full control of Goku. Well, Frieza cannot do anything to Goku now since he's in Gohan's. So what happens now is that, since of course Frieza is still unconscious in Gohan's body, Goku then takes the Dragon Balls from his spaceship. He then goes and brings it to the other Dragon Balls he assembled, and he asks one of the Namekians, which in this scenario was also Dende, to make the wish on the Dragon Balls for him. As they then summon the dragon, Goku's first wish is to obviously resurrect Piccolo, so Piccolo comes back to life. And then his next wish is something very surprising, as Goku wishes for an exact copy of his lab to be given to him in the form of a capsule, as now the dragon gives him a capsule corp labeled capsule that has an exact replica of Goku's lab back on planet Earth. And then Goku then talks to his friends and then says, "You guys, the spaceship is still working. You guys, if you want to explore this planet, I won't stop you. If you want to go back home, go back home. It's all up to you. But then Goku then decides he tells his son basically to swap back with Frieza and give Frieza back his body, which scares everyone, as Frieza's body is almost back to full health, which Goku finds no problem, as he has already learned how to master this Super Saiyan transformation. As Goku then says, just swap back, as Gohan and Frieza then swap back, and everyone's back in the original body. As Goku's last wish, surprising everyone, is that he wishes to send both him and Frieza to a planet with the greatest techniques and wisdom in the universe that he can learn. As Shenron then agrees to this wish, as his eyes then glow red, and Goku and an unconscious Frieza then disappear to an unknown world, as the Z Fighters are left there stunned, wondering what to do from now. As that's where I'll leave this part off. If you guys liked it, please like and subscribe. And yeah, have a great day, guys. See you later.